One of the things that can make or break your video is having bad looking skin tones. Well, in this video, I'm going through a method where you can look specifically at skin tones and it ends up correcting the entire shot. And this method also makes sure that any person in your frame is gonna look their best because you're color correcting specifically for their skin tones. All right, guys, let's get into it. So I've been playing around with my set. Check this out, I got these Cam TV lights. I'll probably have to do a video about these soon. Now, I've done a few other videos in this series that break down your basic understanding of what color grading is, color theory, different things like that, and I'll put links down below in the description to the rest of the videos, but this is specifically talking about how you color grade for skin tones. If there's nothing white in the frame, then you can't use that as a reference. You know, the easiest way to white balance is to have a white card, and you just flash this in the front of the camera at the beginning of the roll or the beginning of, whatever the scene is. And if your camera settings don't change, this can be your baseline for the rest of the scene. The issue is a lot of us don't carry on a white card and a lot of us aren't putting the white card in front of every time we change settings on the camera. So there's a lot of chances where your color might be off because your white balance wasn't set right, you're using auto, or something happened, like say you were balanced to like bright sunny day and then the clouds came over and it changes the color cast just slightly. So I have 3 shots here on my timeline. First is just a shot that I pulled from a situation where the white balance wasn't right. Now the other 2 shots are from ArtGrid. I just pulled some stock footage to show you guys some other samples. So this is a super blue shot and the skin tones are very cool. And this next one is a crazy red shot and the skin tones are very warm. So I just want to show a few different scenes where you potentially could need to do some color grading. So this technique's really cool because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw a mask around the skin and just show the skin. And the reason for this is we're gonna pull up our vector scope. So the vector scope is a tool to be able to see all the colors that are in your image. And you see this in the middle, this little white stuff changes depending on what frame you're on in your image. And you can see when I go between these, the different color casts that each of these images have. Think of the vector scope as a color wheel. And you can see when I go over this blue image, it really pulls down into the blues. Whereas I go over to this other one that's more red or orange, pulls really far into the red and orange. Now in most color grading softwares, you have this one line and you can see it right here. This line is skin tones. So when you're doing your color grade, you can push your skin tones towards that line and then you're gonna have a shot that's graded correctly. The issue is you have all the colors on this vector scope. You don't just have skin tones. We need to isolate just the skin tones and then push the skin tones towards that line. So in Final Cut, you can use the plugin Draw Mask. Now in other editing softwares, you can do the same thing, but I specifically work in Final Cut, so I'm gonna show you how this works in Final Cut. But these tools are available in any editing software. So I'm gonna pull that onto my shot, and what I'm gonna do is just isolate my skin tones. So I'm gonna pull up my inspector, I'm gonna draw a shape around the skin. Now, when you look on the vector scope, you can see that the colors are more pushing towards magenta, blues, and they're not as close to this skin tone line as you would want. So I'm gonna just bring up my color grading tools and I'm gonna start with just the temperature and I'm gonna pull it into the warm. So I'm gonna tweak the temperature, work with my color wheels, and then get it closer to that line. So now when you pull the mask off, you can see that the entire image is corrected and the skin tones look much better. Just a quick way to see where skin tones are and push your colors to that, boom, you have a corrected shot. All right, let's go to this other shot that was much more blue and let's do the same thing. So I'm gonna draw a mask on this image. I'm gonna play with my temperature and my tint and get that trace to hit over right on that line. Now you pull off the mask and you can see all of a sudden that her skin tone looks much warmer. Obviously, if you're going for a cool look, your skin tones might not be pushing towards this line. But what I'm showing you is kind of like base correction. So the first step of any color grading process is to get your footage to look good. So you want to correct things like white balance, color cast, so that from that stage, you can then do some creative color edits. You don't want to go in and start doing creative color edits if your shot isn't corrected first. Now let's take this last shot. It's super red. So I'm going to draw a mask around his face. I'll do some tweaks to the color, temperature, and tint. And then from there, you could see just how quickly this corrects the image. So if you don't want that red cast from the sunrise, then it's gonna look much more natural. All right, guys, if you wanna know more about color grading, I highly suggest checking out this video here. It's a step-by-step guide on the basic steps of color grading. And then I also have underneath that a video all about color theory, which is a great one for you guys to watch just to understand how to take creative control of your edits and make some really cool looks out of your footage.